What's up, Globe Earth Sheeple? This is Nick, aka the man behind the shrine. Today I'm going to show my Sunavalon deck. Our locals, we have like 40 to 60 people every night, and we were doing 4 rounds for the longest for some reason. And we recently switched to doing 5 rounds, which has made a lot of people nervous about it. You need to win an extra game to top, but this was my second night playing 5 round tournaments, and I decided to play Sun Avalon Extra Link, and I kind of just zombied my way and got 4 wins and 1 loss, and we got to the top. Um, so, oh, by the way, if you guys don't like to listen to in-depth deck profiles and explanations, just skip through it or don't watch it, because I'm doing this profile for not just for the people who just want to copy and paste the list, but people who actually want to hear my reasoning for the cards I chose, because I make a lot of weird and creative choices with every deck profile I make. So there's gonna always be some off the wall with me, and if you don't want to listen to me explain it, then you're gonna have no idea why I play it, and you're just gonna think, well, that's trash. I'm just gonna be a Globe Earth sheeple and call it trash. But starting off with the best starter, um, well, best normal summon starter at least. A lot of people don't play this card because it loses to hand traps, but the deck loses. Every deck loses to hand traps, and if your opponent has imperm, they have it. There's definitely stuff in here to counter it. Um, but this card's really good. If you tribute it and you have Gamma, you get a free Omega, and your combo goes through. This card fixes brick hands because a lot of times you need that extra material if you drew a brick card, and this card provides it. So I think this is the best normal summon in the deck for sure. Uh, and that's saying something because we also play 3 Lone Fire, obviously. uh, Ridiculous starter. In this deck, it really doesn't make much sense to go Lone Fire into Lone Fire into Lone Fire because you kind of want to top deck Lone Fire late game sometimes. So I don't really do that, but in Sylvans, I would do that, for example, to thin the deck. But in this deck, it doesn't make any sense. So just normal Lone Fire, tribute it, summon this guy. This is another 1 card starter. This is the only normal monster in the game that I know of that is a 1 card combo into a full extra link or 4 negates, depending on which build you play. As I mentioned, my build is the extra link version, so I play this card. Shadow. A lot of people don't play this one. I really can't understand your logic because this card gives so much free extension power, free special summon, then you tribute it to recycle your 2 links with Daphne, at least my combo does, and then you can banish it from grave, target a link 2, which would be Daphne, and you just cheat out a second copy of it from the extra deck for free. So this provides 3 materials of extension power and just literally just breaks the mechanic. It's kind of like a mini Agripane in a sense. But obviously, you can't bring out anything as broken as that card, but you just bring out a free link 2 from the extra deck. Card's really nice. This card's pretty good too. It can be a little bit of a brick, but the thing I like about this deck is unless you draw like multiple of your bricks, you can still combo with your bricks in hand. And a lot of times, if you draw Unexpected Die plus this, that's actually really good. This gives you a whole extra material if you start with Unexpected Die. So, and this is also your follow-up card too. You banish itself and a link for cost to summon a link that you have 2 of the same name in the graveyard. So you bring back Daphne, get recycling plays, and a lot of times you want to clear a zone from your extra link with the banish effect. So this is a really great follow-up card in your graveyard after your combo goes through. 1 Laurel, just some extension power, works with the Mardell. This is still one of the only really pricey cards in the deck. This card is never going to get reprinted apparently, so it's still 20 bucks or so. This is not really a brick. This is still live if you draw it. This is a brick. This kind of makes your plays a little less strong, but there's still ways to combo and end on almost the same board if you drew this card. So it's fine. We played a bunch of hand traps, so or a good amount, not too many, but 3 Ash. This card's so broken, man. This card's the best hand trap in almost every format. It hits Fusion Destiny, and that's all I need to know. And for the other hand traps, we main deck triple Gamma 1 Driver. Gamma has incredible synergy with this deck. You use Unexpected Die, and if they're naive and they Ash it, you make this, you make Omega, make your plays, rip a card, full combo. And the same goes for Rescue Rabbit and Moonfire Blossom. So 1 for 1 also. So there's just so many places where your opponent will be tempted to Ash you, and oftentimes, if you don't have the Gamma, that would be a good place to Ash. However, when you do have the Gamma in your hand, uh, and you stop their Ash on the Rescue Rabbit or Lone Fire or whatever with this card, you just make Omega, rip a card, go full combo, and it's just going to be game. So I think the synergy with Gamma in this deck is absolutely insane. And it just hits everything in the format of people as people have mentioned. Any deck that can play Gamma going first and second should definitely main deck it. We play 3 Starvis for Imperm and Valor. That's what this is for. I don't want to spend money on Crossout, and I also don't really like Crossout as a card. It doesn't have any applications beyond stopping hand traps. So if your opponent doesn't have it, well, it has some at like mirror matches, and occasionally you can hit a called by or something like that. But it's just its applications other than hitting hand traps are niche as crap. Um, so I like Service because if you have this and your opponent has an Imperm or even like a Compulse or a Crackdown if they're playing like an Eldritch Trap variant. Um, so this is good going first. You can use this to break boards too. Like let's say you hand trap your opponent, they end on a Fog Blade or they end on that Sword Cell Yugioh, which is like basically like a Fog Blade slash Valor. Like if that's what your opponent does, and they try to hit your starter, you just discard this, and now you can go full combo. So I really like this card because it's good going first to stop hand traps, and good going second to stop hand traps and stop negates. And man, Sorvis just is so good in this deck. You got to try it. Don't knock it before you try it. And then the other couple starters, 1-for-1, it's insane. And then triple unexpected die. These are like the best starters in your deck because they don't use your normal summon. Every one of these is a 1 card full extra link combo, and you can play through hand traps. Either your opponent hits this, or they hit your link 1, and then you normal summon Lone Fire Blossom, tribute the link 1 that's negated, and then go into another seed, go into another link 1. Link 1's not once per turn. What were they thinking? I don't know. Great starters. And then triple of the card that made the deck playable out of Burst of Destiny. Sowing. This is not a starter, but if you do open with just this, you can at least set up for next turn by going into the seed, going into the link, and then search another copy of it, and then you can use the link 1 to survive a turn because I play a special card specifically for that. Hint, hint. But it's not a starter, but it's just a really good, combo enabler. And then the icing on the cake for this card that just makes it broken is that it's a Phalanx in graveyard. But unlike Phalanx, it's not once per turn. So when you have 2 or 3 of these in graveyard, you literally just go, oh, Lightning Storm on my board? That's nice. Banish. Any more? Protect your whole board. Second Lightning Storm? Banish. Protect your whole board. Oh, you got a third one? Banish. Protect your whole board. It just makes the ceiling so much higher to have these in your graveyard. It's crazy. And then I think 2 is kind of the sweet spot for Sunvine Shrine. You could play a 3-1 or a third one, but it's not the greatest extender. It's really just there for it to make your end board. But the other effect of this card is interesting. You can recycle a continuous trap from your graveyard on your opponent's end phase. So I before Imperial Order got banned, I was playing that, and this is the only deck I know of that could recycle Imperial Order after your opponent pops it. So I had some good fun with that. Well, that was legal, but we still play a spicy continuous trap to recycle out this because I just think it's too strong not to. That's a really crazy effect. Reset any continuous trap in the game. It's broken. And then got some spice for you as usual. Midbreaker Field. So this card is like a permanent Sorvis. And it's really needed in this deck because Imperm can hurt you very badly if they hit the right spot. But if they draw 2 Imperms and a Valor, or if their hand is literally all, 3 Imperms, 2 Valors, and you activate this, good game. They're all dead. Doesn't matter. And this does turn off your Link 4 Compulse effect, but that's a small price to pay to have a full board. You still have the trap, you still have all the protection, you still have a full extra link, you still have a bunch of card advantage, a bunch of follow-up. Turning off the link 4's Compulse, and it only turns it off in the main phase 1, so you can still do it in the main phase 2. But it's a very small price to pay for the spice. This card's just broken. I'd play 3 of it if it were a 3, hands down. Absolutely insane card. Speaking of cards to make our plays go through, excuse me. Got Called by the Grave, broken. I've talked about how good this card is going first and second. Like, just play it in every main deck. Like, I don't understand if you side it or don't play it. And then Red Reboot. This is also so. This was like this was the best card the other day because I played against two Eldritch, and I played against Trickstar with a bunch of back row, and I played against a couple other decks. But there's so many like I knew everybody was playing Eldritch at our locals, so I put this in, and this was absolutely MVP whenever I drew it. I had only one spot for a backer removal card, and I chose Red Reboot over Feather Duster for a couple reasons. One, because this deck can OTK so easily, it's ridiculous. Um, but also the fact that this is a hand trap, and the fact that it's a reactive card. And the coolest thing about this card too is it can also beat Imperm, because if your opponent Imperms you, uh, and then you red reboot them, you still go full combo, and it's like, okay, they get to set another imperm. But once you make the full board, imperm doesn't matter. Like pretty much no board breaking cards matter except for evenly, and like there can be only one if they flip that on you. Like those are the only two cards that really break your board once you this deck is so insane against board breaker type cards. You just because the protection from sewing and the fact that you can't attack the links. So two, you could literally do this, and they set another imperm, and then you have to play against two imperm next turn, and it's not gonna matter. Like, okay, you turned off my link 4, I can't compulse. Still got the extra link. Okay, you turned off the monster in the extra monster zone, so now you can attack it. Okay, banish sewing to protect it. Like it, I can't even tell you, this card's so good in this deck. It's main worthy, man. It's main worthy. And then this is a spicy card we're playing to reset with the Shrine Continuous spell. Macro actually won me a game against, I believe it was Eldritch that won me a game against. This card's crazy. It's like the closest thing we have to Imperial Order besides like anti-spell, but this is a lot stronger. Um, and just being able to reset this if they pop it, and when you, it doesn't hurt you when you set up. Like your graveyard's still loaded, and you have so much protection, so it's very unlikely any of your stuff's gonna go to the graveyard anyway. You just really screw with your opponent's plays when you macro them. And then this is the archetype continuous trap. This is the other one you can reset off of the continuous spell. This card's the card that made me want to start playing this deck in the first place. I love floodgates, and this card's like a one-time skill drain, or like how would I explain it? It's almost like a dark ruler on your opponent's turn. Like it hits it blanket negates every monster they can currently control, and whatever it negates permanently. So everything they summon afterwards won't be negated, but whatever you hit with this, it hits everything they control. Every monster they control is permanently negated, uh, and it's just so good. Like you hold this as long as you can, and then when your opponent puts 5 monsters on the field and all of them threaten you, just flip this up, and it's like, yep, they're all permanently negated. Have fun. Um, and then this is also a battle trap, and people don't read that. When your opponent attacks one of your cards, like if they, let's say they imperm your link 1, now it's 0 attack. They try to attack into it, but it's pointing to your link 4 that has 2,500 attack. You just chain this, all of a sudden your link gains the attack of equal to what it points to, and their monster gets blown up. And you can use this to OTK also. You can use it to make the link 4 go to like 12,000 attack when he points to 2 Thrashers. So this card's amazing. Absolutely fantastic skill type card. And then the last card in the main deck is triple Imperm. So 9 hand traps, Ash, Imperm, and Gamma. I like Imperm because you can turn stuff off like DPE, Scythe. Um, it's one of those cards you can get a lot of value of as a 6th card. Uh, it's pretty good. I'm considering like maining Lancia, but honestly, I like the utility and just how much coverage you get off of Imperm. So I think it's pretty good in the main. Side deck, or extra deck, excuse me. We played 3 of the most broken card in the whole deck, period, which is Dryas. This card is a link 1 that searches your archetype spells, and where's the spells or traps? Yeah, spells or traps. There's no Sunvine traps currently. The Sunavalon trap is what the other one. It's not a Sunvine trap, but maybe they'll print some. Who knows? But this card is not once per turn. It's a link 1 that searches spells and traps that's not once per turn. And you end up, in my combo, you end up searching 4 times off of this card. You go through all 3 copies, and you recycle 1, and you search again. This is the card that makes the deck good. This is a card, I just can't get over this card. And this is the one you fill the extra monster zones with this card. It can't be attacked. And then when your opponent does damage to you, or you take damage, this card can gain back the damage you took, soft once per turn, and then you just cheat out extra deck monsters for free. Any Link 1 extra deck monster, you just cheat it out. This card does so much. Oh my god, this card is so broken. This card might go to 1 someday, like no joke, if this deck ever gets on the map. That card's crazy. And then we play 1 healer. This is really just for your combos, but it also can help you in time. It gains life points. Turns on the aromages for you having more life points than your opponent. Yeah, it's just good old healer. And then this probably is the most controversial and spicy choice in the deck. Are you prepared, Globe Earth Sheeple? Are you prepared? Are you going to call this card trash unless you tried it? Don't do it. Try it first, then say it's trash, okay? Gardener. Everyone thinks this card is garbage, but let me guarantee you none of them have tried it. Because I actually make my fucking mind up for myself. I actually think for myself. So I said, you know what? Everybody says this card's garbage. I'm going to be the first one to actually try it out. This card won me like 10 games by itself. By itself. No joke. No exaggeration. I had someone, we had to call a judge over to see if he could stop this in the damage step. And the guy was like, dude, that card's, I won the game. He couldn't stop it. And I won the game. And he was like, that card's so broken. So if those of you don't know what it does, it basically says you end the battle phase once this card gets destroyed by battle. So when you have this on your board, or you use the Link 1 to cheat it out of the extra deck, because remember, you can cheat stuff out with this. So your opponent attacks you, you take damage, then you heal it back with this, and then you bring out this, and then if they attack this, the battle phase is over. And that's why if you get hand trapped and you have to pass with just the Link 1, you're pretty much guaranteed to at least survive to the next turn, because you bring out this. It's like the Sky Striker kinda, but better. It's like way better than kinda, because it actually ends the battle phase. It doesn't just say stop one monster from attacking. But yes, a lot. So it helps your end board be stronger, and it helps you not die when you have to pass on just one of these. This card, no joke, is like the god card in my experience. Just try it. Just try it before you knock it. Or you could just be a Globe Earth Sheeple and say it's trash and call me trash and whatever. It's up to you. I'm gonna play Tooth Thrasher. This is our OTK card. It goes up to 4,000 attack, and you can make it attack like 4 times. So this deck can put up like 20,000 damage. This card's it's ridiculous. It's a Yugioh Guardian, steals whatever it beats over. The effect to gain attack is not once per turn. I don't think the effect to yeah, and there's no once per turn on this card anywhere. The Yugioh Guardian effect's not once per turn. The attack gain is not once per turn. This is your big beater. I really actually want to cut this to 1 just to make room for a interesting card I'll show you in a second, but it just helps a lot having 2 of them. It really helps push for game. If I can figure out how to cut it down to 1 and still OTK consistently, you can do it, but it's like it's just nice to have 2 of these. You close it out a lot quicker with less hassle if your opponent interrupts you. That card is a big beater. Play just 1 Jasmine. Most people play 2 of this, which is fine. You can get more searches and stuff, but I'm kind of just, trying to get as much space as I got. And for my combo, my extra link combo, you only need 1 of this to make the full extra link board. So, good card, but I don't really go into 2 of it. It's up to you. We play 2 Daphne. This is part of your combo, and this is also like pretty much most of your grind game comes from this card. It says tribute any monster, not plant monster, not nothing. Just tribute any monster to recycle 2 plant links from the grave. So you can recycle your Thrashers, you can recycle your Link 4s, you can recycle your Gardeners, whatever you need to recycle. This card's there for you. And this also, you use it to extra link too, because it has the correct arrows. And then you cheat 1 copy of it out of the extra deck with the shadow. So I've seen a lot of people not play this card too, and this card's just crazy. Like that's your whole follow-up for this. Other than that, the deck has no way to recycle extra deck resources. You burn through them very quickly. So I'd recommend it. 2 Amelias. This is like the extra deck version of the continuous spell. Soft once per turn, revive the normal monster from your graveyard. It's used to make the extra link. And then this is the one you make your Thrasher can attack like 3 or 4 times with this card. So it's good. This one's at least mandatory. I don't think you can make the deck work out this one. You're welcome to try. But then we got my Link 4s. This is the better Link 4. This one searches your skill range trap. He can't be attacked and he can't be destroyed. And when you have a Link 4 on your field, it just turns on all of your good effects. Like your Thrasher goes to 4K by targeting this because it gains attack equal to the Link rating times 800. So when you have this on the board, it's really, really good board presence. It turns on everything you need from this card. So honestly, I'd play 2 of this one, but I still don't really have room for it. And the other Link 4 that I play instead of another copy of this is Bengal Lancer. This one's like a compulse, and he brings himself back like a Shen would. So, like, this card's good. If I had room, I would play 2 of this, and I'd still keep this. But if I had to choose one over the other, I would definitely choose him. But this one's still really good, and sometimes that compulse is a lifesaver. Like, if your opponent threatens Zeus or something, and you can trigger your own trees with it because he has to take damage in order to compulse. Um, they're both good. They're both really good. If there was like another trap, I'd probably run a second. I'd make room for a second one of this because this one is chunkier. It's a little stronger. And then the last card in the extra deck is the one Omega for the Gamma package. I didn't want to play this because it doesn't come up all that often. However, I had a game where I used a card in my side to rip a card from my opponent's hand. You'll see in a second. And then I had no starter, but I top deck Unexpected Die. But I had Gamma and Driver stuck on my board, and I couldn't use Unexpected Die, so I lost. So I know it's like a niche situation to lose to, but I can't. And also the Gamma Driver kind of make it so you can't do the full extra link because they take up 2 zones. So you'd get this guy, and he removes himself from the board and a card from your opponent's hand, and it just makes things easier if you get in this weird state like that. Then the side deck. Triple Lancia, this card's insane this format. Um, Absolutely insane. This card was so good. I just shotgunned it against a player. My last round was against Virtual World Virtual World Punk. And game 1 he bricked, and all I saw was that he had a Chalice set. So I had no idea what he was playing, but I was thinking like, okay, it's a Chalice. It's got to be like some kind of mid-range deck. And I was like, every mid-range deck in the game or combo deck in the game right now loses to Lancia. So I just blindsided Lancia against him, and I blindsided evenly matched against him. And I shotgunned Lancia. He ended on hot red and a couple back row. I drew double evenly, and evenly was godlike. It cleans up Eldritch, cleans up, everything. I really like evenly. It was definitely very strong. Helped win that. This combination helped me win my last match, and then for the rest of the back removal package, in addition to 3 evenly, we got Duster, Twister, Cyclone. I wanted to have a little bit of diversity, flexibility, and 6 anti-back row cards in the side. I think is mandatory at least for my look, because I saw like Pack or whatever in his DDD deck profile. He was just like, I'm not going to play any back row removal in my side, but he definitely don't play where I play, man, because everybody's playing Eldritch here. There's good players too, and it's a bunch of meta, a bunch of Eldritch, and a bunch of Rogue. But you gotta respect the Eldritch. Dark Ruler. I think this is like a mandatory card in pretty much every deck right now. It just breaks boards, man. What is there to say about Dark Ruler? Then the last card in the deck. And stay tuned for the spicy alternative choice in the extra deck that I'll show you in a second. Hint, it's right there. The last card in the deck is Drag Down to the Grave. So, I don't play Crossout. One, because I'm a budget player, and I specifically design decks to be cheap and budget because it makes it more innovative. I have to think outside the box and not just play what everyone else plays. Also, I legitimately think in this deck, this is better than Crossout. I 100% believe it's better than Crossout. Why? Because you can rip cards that Crossout only hits stuff that your opponent, like, it only hits hand traps or called by or something like that. Like, it's very niche. This, your board lose to more than just hand traps. You lose to evenly. You can lose to, there can be only one. You can lose to spear mode. You can lose to lava golem. You can lose to kaijus. You can lose to, a lot more stuff than a Crossout can handle. So I like to rip cards out of my opponent's hand. And yes, this card is a neg and card advantage. in this deck, you go like plus 12. Your board is loaded and your grave is loaded and your hand still has cards in it. Um, Giving your opponent one card is not going to matter. You're still going to win, especially if you rip their starter or rip their only board breaking card. The other great thing about this card is that it will never screw you up as long as you draw a starter. Because you can, if you draw unexpected die, you just set it face down. If you draw the seed, the normal monster, it's a normal monster. So literally normal summon it and then activate this and rip from their hand and have a good time. This card wins me game. It's so good in this deck. It's better in this deck than any other deck I've ever used it in. And I legitimately think it's better than Cross Up. And the great thing about it, it's like 25 cents. So there's no need to be a Globe Earth sheeple and spend a bunch of money and be in a meta sheep and all that stuff. And here's a card that I really want to fit into the extra deck. If I can find a spot for this card, I will. This card is really good. Like everybody, and it took me a while to find out why this card is good, but everyone just said, oh, it's trash, don't play it, it's garbage. And I don't blame you because it is kind of niche and hard to find like what to do with this card. But this card is good in situations where you get interrupted, like especially if you get like dimension shifted or drolled. You make this, you can go a link. This is the best link 3 to just sit on. You can play like control with this card by itself. Because it negates attacks and it can cheat out monsters 3 times when you take damage. So a lot of times if you get de-shifted and you have to pass, you just make this and then have hand traps. And whenever your opponent damages you, you bring out Gardna so you can survive the turn, bring out Healer, gain some life points, and then you bring out Thrasher, goes to 3200 attack. So it just kind of gives you like a low resource play that's not bad. Like how Dragon Link can go Seals Pass, and that's still good if they get hand trapped. This kind of gives you like the flexibility to fall back on something that isn't completely trash. I definitely want to make room for this card. I don't think it's bad. You should at least try it out. Like it doesn't always come up, but you'll kind of want it when you get interrupted to shit, and just gives you a good option. So that's the deck profile. I hope you guys not only tolerated but enjoyed my crazy off-the-wall rantings about Yu-Gi-Oh! And can find some usefulness in an in-depth deck profile like this. Just remember that the Earth is flat, and don't take the microchip. And yeah, Mystic Mind Shrine, baby.